So Microsoft made a re-release of Flight Simulator 2006 called Flight Simulator 2020, and if you don't know, it is one of the most demanding games that has come out in a very, very long time. The minimum required specs is an i5-8400 and a GTX 970. Oh my god! If you were going to build a PC like that, it's going to run you about $1,000 if you want to buy it new. Alright? So what we're here to do today is to show you how much money you can save and just how cheap you can build the minimum requirement PC for Flight Simulator 2020 in 2020. So let's go. Flight Simulator 2020, if you haven't heard and are living under a rock, is a game that has the most realistic flight settings that you can possibly get. People will probably actually use this for preparation for if they are going to become an actual pilot, just because of how realistic it is. Of course, this brings in a lot of other people who are interested in that sort of thing and makes it a very popular game. So here's what we're going to do to try and figure out how we can build this thing for so cheap. Now, it says in this list of sort of parts that we need for this game that we should have an i5-8400 or a Ryzen 5 1500X. So really what we're going for is any of the newer Core i5s, or basically anything that's on the sort of Ryzen platform that isn't a Ryzen 3 1200 or a Ryzen 3 2200G. Now, for our graphics card, it's very, very expensive. We're going to need either an RX 590 or a GTX 970 for these requirements. So I think going anything 970 or just newer after that should be fine. Or even going for something like an RX 580 or a 570 8GB isn't really going to affect too much when it comes to the difference between those cards. Okay, so it's been about maybe like a week or so now, and we have all the parts here, plus a few, little nice extras in our budget, for our full PC just ready to go. Now, just one thing before we do begin, I do realize that normally all the PCs that I build are built entirely out of secondhand parts, but seeing as we did have that little extra budget for $400, I did get a few nice extras. So things like our case and our CPU cooler, our sort of drives, that thing are new. None of the sort of core components that really make up the performance of our PC are new. We got them secondhand to show you the deals that you guys can get for $400. But that's all I'm going to say before we get into this. Now, when I say this, I mean what we got and how much we paid for it. So let's have a look at that. Alright, so we're going to start at the big, expensive pieces and then work our way down to sort of like the smaller ones like our power supply, that sort of thing. So first off, our probably best deal that we got over this whole video is for our CPU and our RAM. We got them together. So first off, our CPU is a Core i5 6600K. Now I do realize this is a fair bit older than i5-8400, but I thought maybe you could forgive me on this one. We're on a smaller budget when it comes to building a PC like this, and it is an overclockable model and that sort of thing, so I thought that maybe might make up for it, but I don't know. You leave your thoughts in the comments down below. We got that paired with 8GB of DDR4 from HyperX. It's running at 2400 MHz, which honestly it doesn't really matter because we're on Intel, but these are quality RAM sticks, and again we are on DDR4, so that is very nice. Now, we got an outstanding deal on these two together. I believe we paid $130 for both of them. Now, if you don't know anything about these two pieces, just know this CPU by itself currently goes for around $180 secondhand, and this RAM goes for about $50. So if we actually wanted to get these by themselves and we didn't get this great deal, we've been looking at paying an extra $100 on top of what we paid. So I think we got a great deal on those. But let's not speak too much on them, we gotta move on because otherwise we're gonna run out of time on this video. Next off, we have our graphics card. As you can tell, bit of a chunky boy, and it's a bit of a weird looking boy, but it is a solid performer, and we got a really good deal on it too. So, this right here is a Galaxy Phantom GTX 970. So it is a bit of a weird one because it's a Phantom model, but it's going to go great with our color scheme because it's blue and black, as you'll see as we go forward. And it is a 970 4GB model, which is perfect for the recommended specs for Flight Simulator 2020. Now, we paid $100 for this GTX 970, and if you don't know about anything on the PC market in Australia, GTX 970s normally go for around $150 to $200, so we did save a fair bit on this. Next up, we have our motherboard. Now, this one we actually got refurbished from an online website, which we actually still got a pretty good deal on it. It is an Asus H110ME, and yes, I can already see your comments like, oh, you can't overclock on a H110M motherboard. I know, we're on a $400 budget, please. It doesn't matter. We got this motherboard for $50, it's going to support everything that we have, and also it fits inside our micro ATX case. Okay, next off we have, let's go for power supply. Okay, so this is the deal that I'm least proud of because it's a generic power supply, 550 watts. It's really quite bad. I got it on sale for $20 new. Hopefully it doesn't blow up, seeing as we are using pretty power demanding pieces, but not too bad. Fingers crossed on that one. Next up we have our 120GB SSD. It's a WD Green drive. We got it for $23. Pretty solid deal. It's brand new. Yeah, nice looking SSD. Next off, we have our CPU cooler. This is a Cooler Master i70C, so it is blue and black, just like our GPU, which is going to go very nicely together. We got this one for $19. So again, pretty solid deal. It's going to go fine with our CPU. Next off, we got our white sleeved cable extensions. You're seeing B-roll shots right now, so it doesn't really matter if you can see them here. I got these for $22, which was a very solid deal, and honestly, it's going to look so much better than the ketchup and mustard cables that are on this power supply, so it was worth that money. And finally, over here we have a Thermaltake Versa H18, which we got for $55. We got for $55. It's a micro ATX case and all that sort of stuff. So, if you have been doing the maths with me, you would have known that we paid an overall bit like $20 or $30 over $400. And for the performance that I'm expecting out of this PC, I think it is definitely worth that, and is worth way more than that if you are looking to pay for new parts. So, with all of that said, in a very fast speed, let's build this thing. What is the time? Okay, here we go. What's the time? Oh, I'm a nerd. So, we built this thing actually pretty fairly quickly, and as you can tell, the whole aesthetic of the PC so far actually looks so good. And I'll tell you what, it's only going to look better once we turn it on, so why don't we see if we can do that. Alrighty, we have it all set up and good to go, but one thing before we get to the final reveal of whether it's working or not, I have a little thing right here that you and I probably both love, and here's how it's gonna go. Oh, saved. Alright, other side. Let's go. Perfect. Okay, hopefully this will give us good vibes and let this PC work. 3, 2, 1, go. What does that mean? Oh. GPU spinning. Yeah, let's go. We did it. Alright, I'll give you a few quick B-roll shots of the PC before we go on and benchmark it. But other than that, let's go on and benchmark it. So, if you weren't paying attention during the benchmarks, you would have seen that this PC has the ability to do anything. You'll see with the CSGO and all those sorts of games, we were averaging around 250 FPS at high and very high settings. So if you're looking for a PC that can do it all at a very cheap price, this is your PC. So this PC has the ability to do anything from video editing, live streaming, VR gaming, normal gaming, anything it can handle. Now, is it the $1,000 PC that we were talking about at the start of the video? I think so, but please let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. That would be much appreciated. And I'd also just like to say a big thank you. Recently, in the past few days, our subscriber rate has been absolutely exploding. And so if you do want to join the channel before we do our giveaway, then please get subscribed down below, because at 1,000 subs we are going to be giving away a bunch of awesome tech. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in another video. See ya.